Hey guys, in this Spark AR Studio tutorial, I want to show you how you can create a photo booth effect like this. So let's start. Hey again, so let's create this photo booth effect here in the Spark AR Studio. The first thing I will do is to create one of the 4 rectangles here in the screen with the camera input, and also I will do the freeze frame effect. And then I will just do this another 3 times so I have all 4 of those rectangles. So let's start. The first thing we will do is to create here a rectangle in the scene which will cover 1/4 of the screen. So to do this, we will go to our scene, click on the plus, and here search for a rectangle object. After I have created this rectangle object, I will rename it to frame 1. Now we can see our rectangle at the left upper corner, but I want to stretch it to 1/4 of the screen. So I select the frame 1 rectangle and then I go to the right hand side. Now I will set the width not to fixed, I will set it to relative, and also I will do this with the height. And then for the value, I will set the width to 50 and also the height to 50. So now it stretches 50% of the width and also 50% of the height. The next step is of course to create a material for our rectangle. So to do this, I will go to my assets panel and click on the little plus and create a new material. I will also rename this material to frame 1. Then I will select the material and go to the right hand side to the properties of the material. The first step is that I set the shader type to flat, and then I will go down to diffuse and here to texture. Here you can find a little arrow next to it, just click on it to extract this property to your patch editor. After you have done this, you will find this yellow patch in your patch editor. Now we can set this material already for the rectangle. So I go to my scene, click on the frame 1 and set for the material my frame 1 material. Of course, we can't see anything here besides the white canvas, but we will change this now. The next step is that we extract our camera texture from our camera object. So to do this, go to your scene, click on the camera, go to the right hand side and then click on the plus next to texture extraction. After you have done this, you will find this camera texture 0 in your assets panel. Now just drag and drop the camera texture 0 into your patch editor. So now you can also find this orange camera texture in your patch editor. Now we will do some programming in the patch editor, and we will also create some patches for this. The first patch we have to add to our patch editor is a mix patch. So just add this patch. Then we also need a shader render pass patch. Also create this one. And now we also need a delay frame patch. So just click on it and also add this patch. If there is a connection, just delete it for now. Then we will also need a receiver patch, because as you can see here, the delay frame is some kind of a special patch. At first it is blue and not gray, and it also has no output, just this icon here, and this says that we need a receiver patch. So go to add patches and here search for receiver. This patch is also blue. So now I will rename my delay frame patch to, don't get confused later. So just double click on the name delay frame of the patch, and here you can rename this patch to delay frame 1. Now we have to do one important step, because sometimes I just forget about it and then I'm wondering why my filter is not working. So go to your receiver patch, then click on this little drop down here and set this to delay frame 1. We also have to do this 4 times, and don't forget to set the delay frame, the receiver patch to the right delay frame patch. So now we can start connecting our patches. The RGBA output of our camera texture goes into the first input of the mix patch. The output of the receiver patch goes into the second input of the mix patch. Now the output of the mix patch goes into the shader input of our shader render pass, and the output of the shader render pass goes into the render pass input of our blue delay frame patch. So then there is one connection left we have to do. So also connect the blue delay frame receiver to our yellow diffuse texture patch. And now we can see our camera stream also here in this rectangle. Now we can test our freeze effect. So for this, go to your mix patch and set the alpha from 0 to 1. And when you have done this, the rectangle should freeze. So yeah, I will set it back to 0 and it will be normal. So now we have to do this in 3 times again. So also for the 3 rectangles we need here. So again, create a new rectangle, or you can just duplicate frame 1. So just duplicate it. Then you also need a new material. You can also duplicate this too. Don't forget to extract the texture from the shader property. So just click here and then extract it to your patch editor, and then just duplicate the patches we have up here. So we have to duplicate the receiver, the mix, the shader render pass, and the delay frame patch. So just select all of them and then just copy and paste them. So now there is a second group of patches, and here now we have to do something important. The first thing I will do is to rename the delay frame to delay frame 2, and then, as I've already said, we have to change the delay frame 1 receiver to a delay frame 2 receiver. So now it is delay frame 2. Now we just need to connect the camera texture to the first input of the second mix patch, and also the delay frame 2 goes into the frame 2 of the texture patch. Now the 2 rectangles are just overlaying, so go to your canvas and select the frame 2. Here it is important that you also set the material from frame 1 to frame 2 when you have duplicated the frame. Now when I set my viewport from edit 3D objects to edit 2D objects, I can drag around the second frame. But I will do now some additional programming here in the patch editor to make sure that the frames are at the right size and the right position for all device types. When we don't do this, there could be a little, some kind of glitch that you have some gaps between the frames, or you have a wrong scale of the picture. So just follow me along for this. Now we have 2 frames and we will add the other 2s later, but we will do this first. So the first step we have to do is that we drag and drop our device object from the scene to our patch editor. So now we have this purple device patch here, and now we need a new patch. We need a divide patch. So just search for divide and add this patch. Now select the screen size output of the device patch with the first input of the divide patch, and the screen scale output of the device patch to the second input of the divide patch. So now we need an unpack patch. For this unpack patch, change from vector 3 to vector 2, and now we can unpack this vector 2 signal in 2 separate values, so we can play around with those values. So now the next step is to extract the position properties of our frames to the patch editor. To do this, select the 2 frame rectangles in the scene and then go to the right hand side to the properties and click on the little arrow next to position. Now we will have 2 yellow position patches in our patch editor. So now we need another divide patch. And now just to clarify what I'm doing, the point of reference, so for the position, is the left upper corner here of the rectangle. And now we have to make sure that every rectangle is in the right position. So the first one is at 0, 0. Then the second rectangle is at the half of the X of the full width of the screen. And the third is of the half of the Y of the full screen. And then the last one is of the half of X and also the half of the Y from the width and the height. And every device has another value here, so we have to make sure to do this with the patches. So for the divide patch, make sure you set the second input to 2. Then you can duplicate this patch and now connect the X output of the unpack patch to the first divide patch and the second, and the Y output of the unpack patch to the second divide patch. So now we have the half of the X and the half of the Y of the width and the height of the screen. So now we need 2 pack patches. So just create one and set it from vector 3 to vector 2 and then duplicate it. So now for the X, we have to create this goes to the first input and the Y goes to the second input of the second pack patch. And now we of course need a third pack patch. And here we have connect the X to the first and the Y to the second. But this pack patch we will use later when we have created another 2 rectangles. So the frame 1 stays at 0, 0, but the frame 2 will be at the half of the X, so half of X. Connect this, and now it is here at the right position. So now we can move on with the next frames. So for this, we go to our scene, select the frame 2, and then just duplicate this frame. So now, of course, we have to create a new material. I will call this material frame 3, set the shader type to flat, and then, of course, extract the texture property to my patch editor. So now we have the frame 3 here. Now it will get a little bit confusing here in the patch editor because we have not that much space here. Then again, select those 4 patches, the delay frame, mix, shader render pass, and delay frame patch, and just copy and paste it. So now we have the 4 patches here. Now connect the delay frame to the frame 3. Then rename the delay frame from delay frame 2 to delay frame 3. And don't forget to set the receiver to the delay frame 3. So, and one last step, of course, connect the camera texture to the first input of the mix patch. Now we have to make sure that the third frame is here on the left bottom corner. To do this, we go to our scene and select the frame 3 rectangle and go to the right hand side and here extract the position property. Now we need the half of the Y axis, and X can be 0. So for this, we will connect the frame 3 to the pack patch with the Y input. And now this frame is also down here. So now we have 1 frame left. So to do this again, duplicate frame 3. And of course, don't forget it, set the material from frame 3 when we have duplicated from frame 2 to frame 3. So that this is clear at the end. So now again, we can duplicate the material so we don't have to create a new one. So frame 4, again, shader type is already set to flat because of the duplication. Go down to the shader properties and here extract the texture to the patch editor. So now we have the frame 4 texture here, and we can just copy and paste those 4 patches. So we have them now here. Then I will connect the delay frame to the material input. Then again, rename the delay frame to delay frame 4. And don't forget to set the receiver to delay frame 4. Now just connect the camera output to the first input of the mix patch. Now we just have to make sure that the rectangle is here at the right position. So for this we go to our scene and select the frame 4 rectangle. Also set the material from frame 2 to frame 4. Then extract the position property. And here the frame 4 will be connected with the patch which has both inputs, the X and the Y. And now, oh, we have made a mistake here. Of course, we have to connect the divide patch, the divide output to the pack patches. So now it is at the right position. So now we can check if the freezing of the frames work. So go to your mix patches. So the first one works. Then here the second one, just set it from 0 to 1, works too. Then this, the third one works also. And yes, all 4 of them are working. So now we can set it back to 0. Now we want the thing we just did here, we wanted to automate it. So when we tap on the screen, the first frame phrases, then after delay the second, then after delay the third, and after delay the fourth of the 4 patches. So let's do this. For this we need of course a screen tap patch to trigger the action. So for this, add a new patch, add a screen tap patch. Then we also need a switch patch. So also add a switch patch to your patch editor. And then we also need a if then else patch. So I will also create an if then else patch. So now the screen tap gesture state output goes into the turn on input of the switch. And here the output of the switch goes into the condition input of the if then else patch. So when the screen isn't tapped, then it should be 0, and now when it is tapped, it should be 1, and when it isn't tapped, else it should be 0. So now we can also already connect the output of the if then else patch to the first input, to the alpha input of the first mix patch. So make sure this is delay frame 1. So this is the first. So we can already input this. And now we can already test it for the first rectangle. So set this to simulate touch. And when we tap on the screen, the first frame is freezing. Now we will set up 3 delay patches and connect it to the last 3 mix patches. So just restart the filter and create 3 delay patches. So I will create this one. The first one I will set the duration to 1. Then make sure you connect the output of the if then else patch with the input of the delay patch. So then here is the second one. Here we will set the duration to 2, and for the last one we will set the duration to 3 and also connect it with the if patch. If you want a higher delay, you can just play around here with the settings. This is the delay the frames are freezing, but I will show it to you now. So now connect them right. So there's the one with the 1 second delay goes to the second delay frame. Then the one with the 2 second delay goes to the mix patch of the third. And the one with the 3 seconds goes into the alpha input of the last of the 4 delay frames. And now when we tap on the screen, our filter should already work. So when we tap on it, first freeze, second, third and fourth. So we have successfully created a photo booth effect. To restart, we have just to click on restart. Of course, you can also trigger this effect with the screen recording. I would recommend to do this. So when the user are recording this, the recording of the story, when they start recording, the filter starts playing. So it is, you also have this on the record of the story. So now to make this filter more beautiful and give it a more photo booth vibe, we can also add a border to this filter. I have created a border for you. You can use to follow along this tutorial, but of course you can use your own border. I have created a download link, so just go to the description and click on the download link. Then you will end up here on this Dropbox page, and here you can just download a simple border I have created for you. So just download it, and after you have downloaded it, just import it to this Spark AR project. So for this, we also need a new rectangle here in our scene. We have also done this before. So just go to your scene and create a new rectangle object. Now this rectangle is allowed to stretch all over the screen. So I will rename this to border. Go to the right hand side and set the width to fill width and the height to fill height. Then I will go down to materials and just create a new material. We will find it here in the assets panel. I will also rename this to border. Then for the shader type, of course, I will set it to flat. And for the texture, I will select the texture we have just imported, the border texture. So now we have also a nice frame here on our screen. I have created a white frame so you can change the color here. So just go to your border, to diffuse, and here to color. And now you can just select a color you want the border in. So I will just do a black border. Now we have successfully created this photo booth effect. You can also do a countdown at the beginning so the users know when the frames are freezing. But those are the simplest way you can create a photo booth effect. Just make sure with the delay frames that the receiver is set to the right delay frame. So I will recommend to just rename the delay frames so you know which one is which. And then just tap on the screen and start the filter or trigger it with any other interaction you want. As I said, I recommend the screen recording of the story, not the screen recording, the recording of the story. To get this input, just go to your scene and then drag and drop the camera object into your patch editor. And here we have the video recording output, and this goes to the turn on input of the switch. And now when you record the story, the filter starts. And you can also set a delay for the first frame if you want. You just have to create and do the delay between the switch and the if then else patch. So I will show it to you. Delay. So we need to do this. So we have 1 second delay. I will also do the screen tap again to show it to you. So when I tap on the screen, there is also 1 second of a delay for the first frame. So it will trigger with the second. So the first one will be on the same time. So when we tap on it, 1 second. No, my fault, because it is in front of the delay. So they will not trigger at the same time. So 1 second delay, then the if then else patch gets triggered, and then the other delay patches gets triggered. So a little bit confused with delay patch and also delay frame patch. I hope you don't get that confused. So rename it the right way. Also make sure the frames are renamed right. And also here, this is very important if you want to make the filter work on all screen device sizes. Make sure you have also created those patches here with the position properties of your frames. So thanks for watching. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If yes, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, it would be nice when you subscribe to it. So see you in the next video. Bye!